Okay, we are live and we are going to continue this very exciting conversation. Do not worry about the hiccups. This is the part two of success, finesse, singlehood, finesse, success, and we're just getting right into it. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, being phone care, for being here. Bodam is back. It's going to be much, much better.
So much for them first.
I was
like, of doing Instagram live.
I went on my second handle, the fine lady. I was
Yes,
like, okay, maybe it's
you
good.
did
I'm
that.
that's having an issue.
Thank
Oh
you
my
so much
gosh.
for it. You were saying a lot of, and I remember where we stopped, so I won't even forget. You were telling us, you were sharing with us from the part one, which you should watch if you were part of the first live. It's saved. You were telling us about how even you're growing up and even you going through the pageants and the
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Helped in shaping your etiquette and finesse and everything that you have now. That's where we stopped before it just abruptly took us off.
Yes, and I was saying how a lot of people even now don't quite understand some of the rules of engagement, especially as you start going senior, right? As you start ascending the career ladder, as you start growing a business, and you're really getting into serious rooms. Some of the rules of etiquette people think are old fashioned, or are just we're in this generation where we can just do what we want, isn't it, and just behave how we want, and just but we can't do what we want because there's certain age-old rules that actually define interactions and define certain things. And a typical example that I give, sometimes I go to some places, I attend conferences, and I see some of my sisters, and this is what we're doing. Sorry, excuse me, because this is going to be really, and they're just like, and that's me chewing gum. And I'm like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And I have some people snapping it. I have doing all sorts of nonsense. And I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, yeah, just don't stop. And these subtle things that no one actually says actually holds a lot of people back because you're not seen in the capacity of being a leader a lot of the time. And it's subtle things like this. I was reading a study, I think it was by either Stanford, one of the Ivy League universities, and they were saying how, as people rise up the career ladder, things like competence is no longer looked for. It's almost assumed. So you're assumed to be competent when you've attained a certain level. Your competence is already assumed. But some of the things they look at are the so-called soft skills, right? Can you hold a conversation with investors? Your business is going to, organization is going public. Are you able to get into a room, host your investors to a dinner, have a conversation with them? Can you carry the room in that way? Are you awkward? Trying to think of what fork do I use, and do I use a spoon to eat my rice, or do I use all this kind of stuff, right? Soft skills like that. Do you understand the art of conversation and the art of hospitality? Do you even understand how to show up in a way that flatters you the way you are, where that really brings out do you know your power outfits? Or all these other types of things are what a number of women struggle with. And because also we have this whole thing of women can do everything a man can do, and of course we can, intellectually and mentally, because true do not want to be changing a tire. But let's not get into that conversation today, right? But because we can do it already, what we have subtly done for a number of women is that we've told them the playing field of being feminine is not good enough. And before you can advance to certain levels, you need to cross over into a masculine playing field. But it doesn't pay you to fight on a battlefield that you were not created to do battle on. Right? So you're there striving to be just like a man, and to behave just like a man, and to show up just like a man. Meanwhile, you're forgetting the very thing that makes you special and unique and powerful, which is your femininity. And just going through all of that, reading a couple of books, taking a couple of courses, I was like, this is something I love so much. I think it's something every woman deserves to hear, whether they're just starting out in their career, whether they're still in university, or whether they're at the very, peak of their career. So that's some of the transition from beauty queen into where we are today.
So the next question I'm about to ask you is the question that is probably even unexpected, but is important. What, brother? I've seen you anytime I see you, and that is your brand. Because I know nowadays people think brand is colors and no, but like your brand is really yourself or your personality, and then that can now influence your colors and other things. Anytime I see you, you're always so courteous, always you're smiling. That even before I met you in person. So do you get angry? Please, I need to ask that question because I'm sure I'm asking for friends. When people say I'm asking for a friend, this one, I'm sure I'm asking for friends.
Girl, I don't just get angry. I live it. What? No, honestly, I'll tell you a story. I'll tell you two stories actually. So first, I lose my temper a lot. Honestly, I have a very short fuse. I naturally, I don't like nonsense. It upsets me intensely. So you just do, and I just lose my temper. And I had a wonderful driver. I'm using the word wonderful prophetically. May he be wonderful, because in real life, But I had this driver that just knew how to run me mad. Knew all the buttons to press to make me go. Right. So do I lose my temper? Places I go and I can just scream and yell and really be like, I'm tired. What is this nonsense? So I lose my temper. However, I'm very mindful that, okay, I'll tell you the second story, then I'll tell you what I'm mindful about. Now, a few weeks ago, late last year, I believe it was, or early this year, I went into GT Bank, Guarantee Trust Bank on Admiralty Way. And, that particular day, I was quite upset with them because they'd done quite a few things I wasn't happy with. So I'd gone and placed my complaint. They said, it's all sorted now, go away. And I'm like, okay. So I went away, I went downstairs, decided to use the ATM. Guess what? Problem not solved. So I go back upstairs, and in me, I'm saying, you know what, Bodam, we're going to fight. Because that's the only story this bank will start. Fight. So we're going up, we're going to fight. So I got up there prepared to really just become ghetto and just fight. And then, as I was standing there on the queue, and I was like, they said, madam, we're so sorry, please just give us a few moments, we're going to fix it now. I was standing, the other people were coming, they'll sort it and go. After a while, I was like, excuse me, do you not see me, I'm standing right here. He said, oh, he has fixed it since. Oh, are you waiting for me? I've fixed it since, honestly. Fire started coming out of my eyes, steam started coming out of my ears, and I was about to blow my top. But I kept on feeling like, I kept on hearing a voice, just, just saying, just hold yourself, hold yourself, not today, remember? And I was like, so I looked at a person very upset, like, you know what? I was like, but it's not everything, you're a lady, you're talking about this whole being, really ladylike, irrespective, not, passing across displeasure without raising your voice, all of it. So I was saying, put it into practice today. So I turned and went, I was walking away. Very inside me, I was very upset with myself that I did not let the person know how angry I actually really was. And as I stepped away, a lady comes up to me. Oh, excuse me, are you Bodam? I'm like, yes. Oh, I follow you on this. I attended this class. I attended your Refined Lady Master class. In my mind, I was thinking, oh my goodness. Bodam, imagine if I had actually done what I wanted to do and blew my top and screamed and burnt that. Imagine. So I'm not saying I don't lose my temper. I do. But more and more, I'm being very conscious that I know it's possible not to, and I should have enough control over myself to, sort of know when you're getting to pull yourself back now. Pull yourself back, darling. And then to also realize that some people do seem to know me in some places. So just to be a bit careful about that as well. So that I can actually be authentic to what I'm teaching. It's possible to walk away when you're upset opposed to yelling, I have practiced it myself, and I know it is possible to walk away as opposed to yelling, especially if you live in my country, Nigeria, or on the continent of Africa, or in the world, to be honest. You know, it's possible to walk away. So yeah, the smile and honestly, I'm not the friendliest of people. My natural nature is not friendly. I want to be in my room by myself. You know, I'm not, so it takes a lot of effort for me also to smile and to show up in this way. Yeah, so it's not a natural thing. So why am I saying this? If I can learn it, and if I can show up this way, and if I can do it, anybody can learn it and show up and do it.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for sharing. Well, of course, it wasn't a planned question, but it was something that was really useful, your response. Thank you so much for that. But let us talk a bit about singlehood. This topic is important because you are a model, actually, in real life. You're a model to a lot of single women or matured single women who desire to be married but who are waiting patiently and also rightly as well, because there's like wrong and right way to go about it. What would you say? A lot of women in their over 30s kind of jump into relationships and into marriages because of what people are saying, or even because of insecurity. But for you, you have chosen not to take that path. You have chosen to, go on to the journey till it is God's time. Why? Why is that for you? Why are you choosing to do that? And how has the journey been so far? You spoke about the accountability and mentorship group that you also created. So you could also speak a bit about that as well. So the question is why? And how in today's world where whatever, what, I can just do whatever, get into a marriage, come out. But no, but I'm like, I'm going to go through this. Why are you choosing to do that?
Well, I think it boils down from what's the purpose of marriage? Yeah. And I think when the purpose of a thing is not known, it's abused. Who is it that said that? Someone said that quote. It wasn't me. But when the purpose of a thing is not known, it is likely to be abused. Yes, yeah, that's it. Okay, fantastic. What's the purpose of marriage? I think we have too many broken people entering into an institution, hoping that that institution will fix them. So we have too many lonely people entering into marriage, hoping that in marriage they will cure their loneliness. We have too many people who haven't learned self-control, hoping that when they get into marriage, self-control, when they haven't practiced it all when they were single. And too many people haven't dealt with hurts and dealt with all the things, icky things that are going on in their hearts, and they hope when they get into this relationship with someone else in marriage, it's going to cure all the things that they haven't dealt with in their single years. And that's not what marriage is there for. Marriage is not a band-aid to fix the issues of your life. Marriage works when two whole people who are walking in purpose sort of enter into this union, right? That's when it's beautiful, and that's when it works. And honestly, I'm not about to enter into a marriage at this age and this stage that is now going to become a prayer point. You know what I mean? I joke about that. Look, not about to enter into something that come, 2 months down the line, like, guys, pray for me, my husband. No, we're not going to do that. But why is it possible for me to say I'm not going to do that? Because first of all, I think you have to have a certain knowledge of yourself, and you have to be confident enough in yourself. And like I tell women all the time, you have to understand, accept, and really deeply believe that you are complete as you are. A man does not complete you. And it's vice versa as well. A woman does not complete a man. It's beautiful. Two people do come together and make that decision to go on that life's journey together. It's a beautiful thing. But it should be two complete people coming together, not two people, not two halves coming together, right? It should be 1 + 1 is what equals 1. Not 0.5 plus 0.5. You know what I mean? Or 0.7 plus 0. No. So the first thing I say, what has helped me on this journey is realizing that I am a complete human being with a purpose that should be fulfilled whether I get married or not. That's the bottom line of the story. Let's assume the world ends tomorrow, right? And seeing that I'm not going to, if the world ends tomorrow, then the world is gonna end with me being unmarried. But do I want the world to end without me achieving anything just because I'm waiting for marriage to become? I honestly think that's a waste of life. That's a waste of potential. And secondly, I genuinely believe you attract people where you are. So I tell you something. Early on, as I was beauty queening up and down the whole place, and in my first few years after school, I wanted to get married at the age of 20. That was if I got married late, it was 21. That's late to, I'm late, it's 21. Girl, don't ask me how many years have gone by now. I think almost a decade and a half right since then. But I thought, if I'm late, I'm going to get married at 21. I'm going to pop out 7 children, be done by 30, well, 6 or 7, depending on how I'm feeling, be done by 30, back into pre-baby weight, and then, just spend my days as a full-time homemaker, praying my husband and my kids into greatness. That was my greatest ambition. I was not looking to do purpose. I was not looking to do vision. I was not looking for any of these things. I was looking to be a full-time wife and mama to my husband and my 7 babies. End of, right? I was going to cook and bake them and pray them into amazement while I was going to be a homemaker. And that would have been great. However, imagine the shock, because sometimes let's put ourselves in the shoes of the other person. Imagine his shock. Let's say I got married at 21. I spent the first 10 years of my life, let's assume, on this journey, right? Having my 7 children, being a full-time homemaker, all of these things. And then maybe I clock 33. And then 33, I wake up and I say, this is not the life I want. I think I have something on the inside I want to burn. And then I start evolving into this new person. And I start growing. And then I start speaking to people. And then I come on an Instagram live. And I'm talking all this stuff I'm talking. And he's going to be like, this is not the woman that I married. This is not what I signed up for. I signed up for someone who's going to be a fool. I didn't sign up for this woman that's going to be flying around the world and building brands and building people and leading and teaching. And that's not what I signed up for. Then what sets in? One of two things. It's either I become resentful because he's not allowing me to fly, right? Or he becomes resentful because I'm flying regardless. And if we don't find if we don't find a way of communicating through the evolution and the change, there's actually a real risk to that union at that point in time. Do you see? And I'm just saying, sometimes when we say bloom and blossom and shine and be the very best you can be, it just sets you in context of where you're meant to be. It brings the right people to you. It brings the right friendships to you. It brings the right relationships to you. You attract people at the level that you are. So now, and because I like telling jokes sometimes, I like talking about some things. So, I was speaking to a guy who was telling me once, and he was saying, oh, you look nice, blah, blah, blah. Oh, but I want a full-time homemaker. I'm like, honey, that boat sailed. That boat sailed 12 years ago. Are you even joking? 12 years ago, that boat went out the window. We're no longer there, But I think these are the things that are important. Know who you are. We need to even understand, what do you like and what don't you like? Too many women don't even know what they don't like. So we take everything. Everything is okay. He's never there, it's okay. He's there, it's okay. He does this stuff, I don't really like it, but it's okay. No. You should also have standards. You should have, what environments do you thrive the most in? What environments don't you thrive in? And this is what makes singlehood fun. It's an adventure that you're going in, discovering yourself. This is the one time, I promise you, you can discover yourself with zero guilt. I tell people, are you enjoying your single season? Are you doing things for you? Let me tell you, I know the things. Me, I have maxed out my single season. In fact, I didn't even think I've even finished maxing it out. There's still small enjoyments that we're going to get into, right? But I've maxed it out. I know the things that set me up, you know, when I'm stressed. I know where to go to enjoy myself. I take myself on dates. A lot of women are too scared to go out to a restaurant and sit down and order a meal by themselves. They're like, oh, people are looking at you. Who is looking at you? Like, you know, who? Just take yourself, enjoy your. Too many of us, we don't like our own company. We sit down and we're like, you know, I don't want to be alone. Why don't you want to be alone? I enjoy my company. I can be by myself and I'll have conversations and I'll think things through and I'll break things down and I'll chat. I love my company. I really do. So understanding, I think, what is the single season for and how are you making the best use of it and really enjoying it, and then start looking down and say, oh my gosh, I wish I did this. I wish I want to say there's nothing I've not tried. There are many things I've not, you know, within the context and confines of what I have allowed myself to enjoy according to what I've defined for myself. I've had an amazing single season. I've traveled. I have written a book and writing some more. I have, you know, spoken. I have taught. I've taken courses, looking to go towards other things. I've got a first degree, a great first degree. I've got a master's, you know, done whatever it is. And then I've enjoyed. I've tried out new meals. I've visited restaurants. I've prayed all night with my friends. I've done whatever within the confines. I've stayed in hotels just because I wanted to. Enjoy the single season, and so that when you enter the next, you're preparing yourself for the next. And besides, I'm how to treat me, because there's a certain way you can't treat me worse than how I treat myself. It won't work. And I treat myself pretty good. Pretty good. So that is it on singlehood, or part of it on single.
Let me breathe. Bodam, one of course, this, if you even check through my life, this is one of the reoccurring topics I have with different models, and your answers to it just really, in fact, it was almost making me teary. I was not wondering that and what happened to myself. Why? Because it was very authentic. It was very, you could just see the aura that this lady has peace. And that was one of the things I was writing when I was writing the content, the write-up publicity for this, about how you just carry yourself. So it doesn't mean, just like you shared with us now, angry, doesn't mean that, oh, they are not down times, but the fact that you actually go with this anchor would give you peace. And oh, I really would like you to weigh in on this. It wasn't a planned question as well, but what are your thoughts on single motherhood? Because many people in your shoes, and when I mean single motherhood, what I mean is, oh well, I've not seen a guy, or no guy is coming, however it is that people put it, so I just want to go and give birth, whether I go give birth, get together with a guy, or I go to a sperm donor, whatever the case may be. What are your own personal value thoughts on that, and what do you think about the situation currently happening in our great country, especially Nigeria? It has become a thing.
So I think it's two things I would say. The first is, a child is not a crutch. A child is not a crutch. And it's the same way how also you have some people who a marriage is not working and they say, you know what, let's just have another baby, it's going to fix it. Babies don't fix things. Children are to fix your issues. Fix your issues. You know, children are not to fix. You know, I'm getting older. Let me just, and I'm not saying this thing theoretically. I remember, you know, I was having a conversation, and this was probably about 4 years ago. And the organization I was with at the time had changed their maternity policy to, you could take 6 months off. And I think they're probably one of very few in Nigeria that still have that policy. You could take 6 months off. And then shortly after I resigned, I was about to resign to move to my current organization. And a very well-meaning, very beloved older sister of mine said to me that, you know what, Bodam, and I get that you want to resign, but you're getting older. This is how, and she said with a lot of love, and I love and honor her a lot. And she said, you're getting older. Why don't you just have one baby just to secure things?
Mm-hmm.
Just have one baby, and then you can resign after. So have your baby here, take advantage of the 6 months, and then go and secure what? What are we securing? I get that people are hung up on a legacy with blood. You know what I mean? Like leaving behind, if I don't have my own child, it's not my child. I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. I think that you can be a mother of many nations even if you do not have a biological child. So I think in weighing in on this, the two things to think about: one, a child is not a crutch. I'm not going to go out there, just meet anybody and just get a baby just because I want to get it. It goes against everything I believe. Honestly, to be honest, I don't believe in that. Now, let's assume I turn, let's say 50, right? Or 55 or 60, and I'm unmarried. Yes? Now, I might decide that, you know what? There are a lot of children who are being put in orphanages every day. There are a lot of children whose moms, do not want them at birth for a reason. I might decide to adopt children and bring into my home. And why did I mention the age I mentioned? And it may be maybe 40 or maybe 45 or 50, because a couple of things. If you're making the commitment to bring up a child single-handedly, that means you're doing the work of both mother and father. That means, number one, you need to be present in the life of that child. You need to make sure that your business, your work, whatever it is you're building, has been built to a significant level that you don't need to be there every day. You need to be there for wake-up times. You need to be there for times to go to bed. You need to understand how you're going to travel, because you have to arrange your life around that child, right? So that's not a decision you make because you're feeling lonely at 37, or you're feeling like you're never going to get married at 40. That's not how it works. It is a commitment that you're making to put the very best of yourself on the line to bring up another human being. You have to be there to ensure this child is not going to lack anything in terms of affection, in terms of guidance, in terms of wisdom. And there is a role mother and father play. So even if you decide, you know what, I'm going to adopt because maybe I'm comfortable now, I'm getting to a certain level where, yeah, I can take care of a few children, and you bring people in. My provocation and challenge to you is, who are the male people in your life that are going to be able to provide that sort of perspective to these people? Who are the uncles, for example, that would help provide a male perspective? Because I know we can do all things as women, but there is a balance of the yin and the yang in whatever. There is that balance that is needed when you are bringing up people. So you might not have a husband, and that's very okay. But who are those male influences that you can trust? And in this day and age, it is so important that you can trust the male influences that you're putting in the life of your children or your child, so that they can speak this male perspective on certain issues and show them that initial male love, so that, again, they are not starved of male attention, which now ripples away when they're getting into puberty, and when they're meeting the guys that they like, and they start telling them things, but they have daddy wounds, right? Or they have, so whatever, jumping into the first male relationships that they see just to fill a void. It's a responsibility that I would not say anybody should take lightly, right? So that's my perspective on that. I have no issues against it, but know the reason behind what it is that you're doing. And it's definitely not just to have a crutch. It's not just to have someone call you mommy. You can have people call you mommy without having people call you mommy, without them coming. I have nieces that I pour my heart into. I have 8 godchildren and counting. Yes, I'm surrounded by kids. When I ran in here, the reason it took me a while to get on the line, my niece is downstairs and she runs to me and I'm like, oh, sweetheart, I have a meeting, and she's holding me and hugging me. I'm like, okay, I'm coming. And she starts crying. We have a bond. I'm not starved of kids' affection. And if you are, and you're thinking go and play with orphanage, go to the children's orphanage with your friends and go and sit with them for a day and let the little babies play around with you. And I had, as an orphanage, my sister and I, we used to go to some years ago, and there was this little child. When she came in, she was so horrible. I don't want to get teary now. But when she came in, you know, she'd been found in like a cardboard box in the trash, and you know, like the maggots had started eating her and all sorts of things. And they brought her to the orphanage. And when she came, she was so tiny. And would carry her and would play with her. You know, she was adopted. You know, yeah, she's adopted now. Her parents have taken her away. But we would go and we'll play, and from the minute we'll play, I'll stay with them, and I'll sit with her, and I'll carry her, and we'll feed them, and the kids will perform for us. You cannot be empty of love. Find ways to put yourself in, if that is what is wrong, if that's the thing but parenting, being a mother, is much deeper than just giving birth to a child. So much deeper. I'm gonna get off my soapbox now. Let me hop off.
No, honestly, Bodam, God sent you here. And people are testifying to it. Let us read. Onyechi is saying very apt. Currently having these thoughts and thinking of how to proceed at age 40. At age 48, we have other best is talking about how this is a rare perception, and this is important, and we're going to do as much as possible from, like Tim said now, to make sure that this goes as viral as possible, because yeah, when we don't have people, sometimes when other people talk who are not models, because I consider you a model, they say, now because, like they would say it in pidgin, now because you don't understand, you know. No, but so it's really drawing to us and for us this afternoon, because you are there and we can just see so much depth, and I really appreciate it. The whole single parenting thing is a thing that gives me headache. And yeah, like, of course, the best way to do it, to put it out there, is this conversation I'm having now and just asking questions. It's a lot of problem, but I'm glad that we have leaders like you that will just keep on modeling and showing people what is possible. Thank you so much, Bodam, for that. We'll begin to wrap up now before we go to your rapid fire question. And I want to ask, Bodam, what would you say success means to you? And so, well, I didn't ask, okay, you already answered that. And what would you say success means to you? I think you already answered that. So what does success mean to you? And what are the things a single lady in leadership should consider when she's going to get into marriage? So what does success mean to you? What should a lady consider when she's going to get into marriage? Of course, if she chooses to get married.
What does success mean to me? I think success to me at this stage is being able to do everything that's sort of in my heart. Being able to live out my, as my coach would say, my bedazzled life, right? My best version of my life. That's what this looks like. And I have such a vivid picture of what it looks like. And it covers every single in leadership, what she should be looking out. Oh, can you hear me?
I think I was the one that was off for a while, okay, but I'm back now.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, yes. So to summarize, I was just saying that success for me is very individual. Everybody should have an individual definition of success. But for me, it's being able to live my most bedazzled life. The best version of the life that I've been called to live on this earth is what success will look like. Success to me is dying empty, fully blessing the world with all of my gifts and all of my talents and all of my uniqueness, right? And dying completely empty, to have a whole generation or a few generations after me that I've built up in these things that I believe. I think that's what success looks like for me. Seeing other people come into their own because I decided to live, right? Seeing other people step into who they were created to be because I made sure I shone my light so brightly is what success looks like for me. And then thinking of what should a single woman in leadership look out for in a partner. I think the very first thing I'll say is somebody who not just allows you to thrive, but somebody who deliberately supports you to thrive. You know, a lot of the time we say, oh, I want somebody who allows me to thrive. No, you don't want somebody who allows you to thrive. You want somebody who encourages you, who pushes you, who supports you to thrive. That's who you want, especially if you're a woman in leadership. You don't want somebody who is tolerating your leadership or tolerating your growth or tolerating this fire move that you're on. You want somebody who is encouraging it. You want somebody who is proud of you, just as you are. Who is not ashamed, who is not, who doesn't look for subtle ways of belittling your success, who is proud of hi Effie, who's proud of the woman that you are, and who can sort of carry on their head and be like, hey, this is the person that I'm with, and is really, really excited to see you become everything that you're created to be. Who will call you out when you're shrinking? That's kind of guy. So he's like, no, babe, you can do better than this. You're playing small right about now. You need to stretch out more. You need someone that sees you as you can be, not even as you are. Someone who says, you've done great, but come with me because I'm going to expand your vision just a little bit, right? That's the kind of guy you need. You need somebody who is kind. And this, whether you're a woman in leadership or you're a woman who's just starting out, you need somebody who is kind. Because when someone is truly kind, there are certain things they just won't do. There are certain ways they just won't do, right? So kindness, I think that's vital. And then you also need to have somebody who has a reason that is on this earth. You know how they say, hey, my faith says that women, we submit to men. And I read somewhere so aptly that we submit to our husbands. I beg your pardon. We don't submit to men. We submit to our husbands. Now, I read somewhere that said, I don't know if I read it or if I listened to it, but it was so apt. This thing of, if you're submitting, if you separate the words, that is submission, right? Sub and then mission. So you are going under a mission. How can I go under a mission if no mission exists? So if you, Mr. Man, don't have a mission, what am I submitting to? What am I subbing to? Where are we going? What are we doing? I know where I'm going. So if you want to lead me, you better give me a roadmap as to where it is we're meant to be going, right? So you need to get a man that has a mission on his own. And then you ask yourself, can I be a helpmeet? Because that's what we're there to do. We're there to be helpmeet. So he has a responsibility, but you have a responsibility as well. So can I be a helpmeet to this vision that he has for his life? So if his vision is that, I'm giving a random thing, he wants to be a missionary in India, and your own vision is that you want to be a high-flying city girl in, New York. Okay, already you can see there's going to be a bit of friction because is it India? Is it New York? What is going on? But he has to have a vision and a mission. And then you honestly ask yourself if you can align with that vision and mission, right? So what have I said? Somebody who encourages you to be the very best version of yourself, who takes the vision that you have of yourself, expands it and sees you so much bigger. Someone who is kind, someone who has a mission so that you can, you can take that on. And I think somebody who can communicate, because we have too many people who don't want to communicate, right? Someone who can communicate is important. The final thing I'm going to say is, this one is for us. I think before you even start looking for a guy, you need to do some work on you. You need to make sure you can recognize a good guy when you see one. So many of us have been so abused in so many ways that a good guy is standing right in front of you and you don't see him. because you expect a guy to show up in all sorts of funny ways that are not actually truth. So deal with your own paradigms and deal with your own faulty conditioning and deal with your own past hurts. You need to heal your heart. Everybody is not out to get you. Every guy is not a demon. Every guy is not scum. Every guy is not all this other nonsense that we say. There are many good people out there, right? So do that work of healing on your heart before you even put yourself out there to meet somebody or to become friends with someone or whatever is what I would say. Finally, the last thing I'd say on this one is trust your intuition. Trust your inner self, especially if you're a woman of faith. Trust your inner voice and your intuition. Sometimes it's alerting you to something that you might not even be able to put into words just yet, but that there's something there. So don't be in a hurry. You're just 35, or you're just 38, or you're just 40. It's not the end of your life. Don't be in such a rush that you close your eyes to all the blind, all the red flags and all the things you should be worried about, just because you want to get into a relationship.
Thank you so much, Bodam. We have about 3 more questions and then we close out. But as you're speaking, it was important to share about how you just remind me of, well, I put it out on my page because this is a lot of something I teach about, but things like this don't go viral. Cindy Trim got married for the first time at 60 years old. But many people don't want to talk about that. It's difficult. This conversation you are having with us, which is why I really appreciate, is difficult because people just want to talk about the other ones, bad marriages, what again, all those other things that seem to be easy to go viral. But everything that Bodam is saying is absolutely possible. Seeing it in the person of Dr. Cindy Trim, who got married at 6. Of course, that's not to say everybody will get married then, but she was able to wait and she's happy with her life. And it's a good
can
thing.
I just
It's
say
a good
something?
thing.
Can I say,
Yes,
a
please.
lot of the
Please.
time when we speak about things like, you're waiting for an extended season, or we say things like how, don't worry about it, it's going to happen, stick to your standard, sometimes we oversimplify it, myself included. We make it an easy journey all the time, or as if you're just going to be walking on roses all of your life. Like, yep, I'm walking in purpose. I don't need you. No. There are
Thank you for
times
bringing me.
that will be hard. There are times that you will cry. There are times you will ask yourself, what is wrong with me? Everybody else seems to be getting a man. Some of the men are like half men, but let's not go into that today. There's no violence today. But everybody seems to be getting some kind of male person, right? What is wrong with me? And people ask themselves these questions, and there are not enough safe spaces to have the conversations of, there's nothing wrong with you. It's just the season. It's just your journey. So what I would say is it's okay to have those down moments. It's okay to question if, you shouldn't have said yes to Emeka who asked you out, even though, he didn't have a vision and purpose and he was pressuring you to do stuff you didn't want to do. Should I not just have managed Emeka, maybe prayed for him to have salvation? Maybe that, it's okay to ask ourselves these things. When you're sad for a couple of hours, also have your plan of how you get yourself out of that funk. Yeah, don't stay there too long. Don't have a pity party with the devil. Yeah, don't sit down and invite all your demons to lunch and invite, be serving tea to the demon of doubt and serving tea to the demon of, I shoulda, woulda, coulda, or serving tea to the demon of maybe if I were a bit more patient with Paul, he might have asked me to marry him and then I'll have 4.5 kids. Don't have tea with all these nonsense demons. You kick them out the door for a reason. Yeah? Have a way. I love it. It's just winter. Spring is coming. Have a way to have those circles, and I think it's important for women, especially as you start becoming older, to have those circles that you can be vulnerable and honest with. Those circles where you can go and be like, I'm not so strong today, and they don't even have to say a word, but they're just like, girl, we're holding you. We get you. We understand. It's okay. They'll come over to your home. They'll drink wine with you. They'll bring dessert. You can see the things I like. They'll bring cake and all sorts of, yummy stuff. And we'll just sit down there and just have a great time gisting. And we don't even have to talk about the man matter. We'll just gist and catch up and laugh. And they go away. You just discover you're a lot lighter. Invest in female friendships. Invest in your sisterhoods. Long after you get married, long after you have kids, these relationships are what will tide you over the good days and the bad days. Yeah. So I think it's important to say there will be bad days. There will be. It will come. Another thing, I know I'm not going to do TMI, but another thing, as you get older, your hormones are going to be jumping all over the place. Trust me. A few years ago, I met a lady and we're having like a conversation. We invited her to have a conversation with some ladies who, and she was a bit older at the time. See me saying older at the time. I'm close to the age she was then, and I don't think I'm old. But it's okay. She was a bit older at the time. And, she came to speak to us and she was saying how, as you grow older, sometimes your hormones are jumping. I was like, what? It doesn't get better? What? She was like, it gets worse. I'm like, oh my goodness, how are we going to survive? So I'm sorry. I'm not doing TMI, I promise. There's some times when, your hormones are all over the place. They're just like, your ovaries are jumping, like fertilize me. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to say more than that. And it's for you to understand your body, understand your body, understand when you're more touchy-feely than not. Have a plan to distract yourself. Have a plan. Don't make bad decisions because of a momentary pain that you're feeling at that point in time. Don't make a decision you regret for days or for months or for years just because your hormones are jumping around for just a couple of days. Yeah, they will jump a couple of times each month. You already know it's gonna happen anyway. So what's your plan of mitigating it and and sort of going through the tide? For some people, they can pray about it if you're a person of faith. Some other people, they have other things to distract them. They hang out with friends. Some people decide that's not when they're going to hang out with members of the opposite. Whatever it is that works for you. But understand your body. Understand the times that you're going to watch a romantic movie and the times that you're not going to watch a romantic movie. Like, be that deliberate about how you live your life. Yeah, I'm going to stop here.
Wow, that was a very important part to add. Thank you so much for that. I will take a bit about, like I said, about 3 more questions before our rapid fire. Before your rapid fire question, which is, I want to talk, as a successful woman, how do you deal with downtimes, whether relationship-wise or even outside of that? Just downtimes, down seasons where everything is not out there. How do you still go on leading? How do you still go on moving on with the vision, the mission, the community, the writing, everything that you know that you have to do and deliver to make the world a better place? How can women learn to navigate the downtimes? Why I'm asking that question, why it's important, because whether it's a season of grief, whether somebody passed on in a person's life or whatever else, some women find it difficult to just move. And we're talking about the ingredients of succeeding in today's world. They find it difficult to just move beyond a downtime in their life. So if you could speak to us about how a woman can move, whatever that downtime is in her life, whether currently or soon, whenever it is that person experiences it.
I think first of all, I'll say to stop. To stop and to breathe. Sometimes don't power through. A number of times we're told power through. Don't power through. Actually stop.
Yeah.
Stop and breathe. Take some time to listen to yourself. Take some time to acknowledge that you're in pain. Yeah. Take some time to acknowledge pain. Like, this thing hurts me. It really got to me. Yeah. Take a couple of days if you must. But just to clarify, can you hear someone screaming in the background? No? Can you? No?
No, not yet.
My niece is screaming my name, so I just wanted to make sure.
Don't worry, Auntie
Bodam is coming through. But yeah, so acknowledge that you are in a down season, that you're in a down it's a rough season for you. Acknowledge that. And if you must take space and time, take space and time. I think this goes back to what I was saying about having those safe spaces. You know, you understand how you recover in a season when everything is going okay. How do you recover if something happens to significantly shake you? So for me, I'll pack my things first to the hotel. I'm just like, stop, you know. And I had this quite recently, last year actually. Something happened and just knocked me off my feet. And I just packed my things that day. I told them I'm checking into the hotel, and I just went right away to check in. And I was there all weekend. First day, did I really cry? No, the first day I didn't. Funny enough, I didn't quite cry. I was just there, watched a movie, you know, ordered food, ordered dessert, read a book, you know, slept. And the next morning was when I sat down and I started. And because, you know, obviously my faith I mentioned is very important to me. So I sat down and had a conversation with God. Like, where did I go wrong? How did I even get here? What is going on? You know, and then that was when I was a bit upset. And then I spoke to a few people that I really trusted and I love, you know, and they called me and, you know, we spoke about the things, and I stayed there for an extra day or two, and just, yeah, by the time I was leaving on Monday or Tuesday, I was fine. And it's not that I went, but I allowed myself to process it. And I allowed myself to grieve through that process. Yes. So it was no longer up front and center. I wasn't blocking it. I'd come into it. I let it wash over me. Okay, this is what it is. I acknowledged I was genuinely hurt. You know, then I had friends call me. I had a sister friend call, but this is, you know, and really speak life in me. And that's why I keep on emphasizing the importance of sisterhood and the friendships you cultivate all through your life, really. But from this season, to have those friendships you can be completely naked and unashamed with. So, you know, I have my sister friends calling me and speaking life into me, encouraging me, speaking the truth of who I am, reminding me of promises, reminding me of where we're coming from and where I'm going to. And yeah, by the time I was leaving the hotel, I was like, okay, this happened. It's not the end of the world. It might hit occasionally, but you're good to go. And I went back. Too many of us power through. Let's learn to not power through, but to stop, acknowledge, break, and then move on.
Wow, the case study drove home the points, and I'm thankful for helping us come into your life by sharing that part of the story. The other question I actually had planned was about friendship. As a woman in leadership, influencing in whatever sphere of influence, some women find it difficult to get people into their circle because of betrayals, even other people's experiences, stories, and all. So you seem to do really well with, like, of course, a great community and support system. How did you find your support system so that women can know how to find? And how did you even pull your way through trusting these people? Because if you find the support system, you yourself, you are refusing to trust, then it's really not the people's fault. So how were you able to, the work, how was it done on your side and on the side of the support system that you have and you're sharing with us about?
So first off, I think this is partly a mindset thing. I don't believe that people are out to betray me. I don't believe it. You know, fundamentally, I believe that the people I will invite into my life are people who are loyal to me. One of my core values are loyalty. As I've grown older, I'm realizing more and more how important loyalty is to me. You know, betrayals hurt me deeply, very deeply, more deeply than I can explain. So loyalty is important to me. And I demonstrate that. I demonstrate loyalty to the people who are in my circle. So if I love people, I genuinely love you. I will not speak about you behind your back, for example. I won't do all of that nonsense that we sometimes get involved in. If I have an issue with you, I may not tell you immediately, but we will speak about it in some way eventually, right? And I've been so blessed because those are the type of people I have in my circle. People who loyalty is equally important. We have similar values. And I think it's also important to have people in your circle that have similar values to you. Reason being, on the days you're down, you want people to be able to advise you on the principles that you all agree and hold dear. So I have those type of friends. And I think also the energy, and I know we underestimate this whole energy thing, but I think what you push out sometimes is what you pull in. And the type of energy that you release attracts the people to you. So are you friendly? And you know something, and look, you know, I told you earlier, and I'm not the friendliest of people. I just want to be in my room, right? I'm not exactly friendly. But when you enter certain spaces, how is the body language that you pull? You know, some of us when we enter and we're like frowning and we fold our arms and we're looking to the sky. People are talking to us and we're rolling our eyes all over the place, like, you know, you're disturbing me and I have somewhere better to be. You may have somewhere better to be, but the fact is that you're there, right in that instance. So you can't claim that you're not making connections when you are so aloof